Hello and welcome to South Carolina's episode of Voices of Agriculture. I'm your host, Reggie Hall. Standing on South Carolina's Grand Strand in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where we'll talk to you about agritainment and agritourism in South Carolina. We'll also introduce you to our outstanding farmer in the field, and we'll have our regular cooking segment, this time from the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, plus our beautiful palmetto portrait. That and more coming up in just a moment. Talk about tourism in South Carolina, and so many people think about Myrtle Beach and the Grand Strand, the beautiful white beaches of South Carolina, or the golfing paradise that's all around the coastal region. Well, today we're going to talk to you about another type of tourism, agritourism and agritainment in South Carolina. It's a growing niche industry in the state and one that is adding to the state's economy.
And that house is over 100 years old.
That's right. All those pick-your-own farms, corn mazes, orchards, and other non-traditional agricultural venues across South Carolina ultimately contribute nearly $20 million a year to the state through the process of multiplied economics. The last time agritourism statistics were recorded in South Carolina by the U.S. Department of Agriculture was during the 2007 agriculture census. At that time, the state had close to 400 agritourism operations that earned a collective $8.1 million. Many close to the industry suspect that number has increased since then, even in the midst of an economic downturn.
Good job, man!
USDA's Census of Agriculture officially defines agritourism as recreational services such as hunting, fishing, farm or wine tours, hay rides, etc. Others use the term agritainment.
Whether you call it agritainment or agritourism, it simply means programming activities for visitors in agricultural settings.
Professor Taylor Damonte is director of the Brittain Center for Resort Tourism at Coastal Carolina University near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Connecting people directly with agriculture through tourism is a niche of a larger industry known as rural tourism, something that's being strategically examined by South Carolina's Department of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism through a long-range project to identify or create unique tourism venues in each of the state's 8 tourism districts, beginning with the districts furthest from the coast.
In each of the 5 non-coastal regions, and even in the 3 coastal regions, there are significant rural areas, and the product development recommendations that we've brought forward based upon history and culture on the one hand, but also activity tourism, nature and the environment are stitched, inextricably linked into everything that we're saying.
Peter McNulty is the project manager for South Carolina's tourism study conducted by Tourism Development International based in Dublin, Ireland. He says agritourism offers key drivers to attract tourists to South Carolina.
And there are 2 key drivers that are important and have to be taken on board. And one is the growing interest in heritage and culture on the one hand, and the other is interest in nature and the environment and activities. And if you look at those 2 opportunities, heritage and culture on one hand, and nature and the environment and activities on the other hand, you can see that there are a wealth of potential opportunities in the state of South Carolina.
And so this is simply one of the ways. Agritainment, like other types of entertainment, is a way that destinations can differentiate themselves so that they don't they're not relegated to commodity status. They don't have to compete solely on the basis of price alone.
Most of the state's agritourism operations are locally owned and operated by family farmers. When we come back, we'll tell you what makes their operations so successful. This time of year, as the days grow shorter and most farmers spend their time with the harvest, people plan their adventures around South Carolina's agritourism venues, which range from pumpkin patches, petting zoos, hay rides, pick-your-own operations, and much more. Each of these is owned and operated by family farmers working to supplement their farm income by reaching out to the non-farming public as a means of providing fun and helping educate others about South Carolina agriculture. One of the goals of the Parks Recreation and Tourism Study is to strengthen the collective voice of these smaller operations.
Predominantly, tourism across the globe is a mom and pop business. And so therefore, because of that small-scale nature and the highly fragmented nature, it up to now it has lacked a strong voice and it has lacked a single voice. And we're saying that tourism, in the same way that a county or a region would plan for, rightly so, providing investment resources to plan for factory development, and we're saying that this is an industry that needs to be taken seriously and is worthy of investment.
Agritourism venues contain natural elements of success as long as they're well-run operations, and that is what McNulty refers to as differentiation from the other tourist venues.
Ultimately, successful destinations will be ones that understand what the consumer is looking for. And really, if you think, I ask people very often to think about their own vacation experiences and what resonates with them, what is memorable. And people are looking for new experiences, aren't they? They're looking for memorable experience, and they're looking to, when they go to a destination, to identify something that is distinctive and authentic and unique. You know, if they don't want to see Disney repeated in another region, they associate Disney with Orlando, Florida. Okay, so that's a simple example. So what we would be saying to a county or a region that we've been working with, listen, if you've got something that nobody else has, then you work with that. You may not value it or you might be used to it, but others will. And the reason why that is the case is because it's authentic, distinctive and unique. So it's the key to success for tourism destinations is what we call differentiation. How do you differentiate yourselves from run-of-the-mill destinations? And flip that over to answer your question from the consumer's perspective. I think consumers are looking for a new angle on things. They're looking for destinations that can showcase what they have that is different.
Something else agritourism or Agritainment operations do well is they build and develop relationships with their patrons, which keeps people returning year after year.
And as a tourism operator, your goal is to build a relationship with them and to turn them into not just satisfied visitors, but fans and friends of your operation and your destination. And the way to do that, really the only way to do that is to give them something that they didn't expect for the dollars that they're paying. That is to help them be more successful than they expected in building those relationships. And participative experiences and agricultural settings for all the members of the group is one way that you can do that, or that you can put them at least in a setting where that's possible.
As your travels bring you to South Carolina, make sure to check out the wealth of agritourism venues which our family farmers and others have to offer. You won't be disappointed.
I'm Sterling Sadler, and I'm from Effingham, South Carolina. This is my horse, LDR, make no excuses. We call her Liza. I do love the quarter horse and what we've done with them. I'm an amateur exhibitor, or have been. I'm an amateur owner now, simply enjoying my horses on our farm. As State Equine Committee Chair, I've gotten to look out after things for our horse industry here in the state, whether it's showing opportunities, trail riding opportunities, most importantly, health issues as far as our equine that are so important that people need to be aware of. Through that Farm Bureau membership, it allows us to take care of our horses. That allows us to look out for our commodity. I appreciate the opportunity that I've been given through the South Carolina Farm Bureau to take care of creatures such as Liza and to take care of my land.
It's time now for our regular cooking segment featuring muscadine ice cream. But before we show you how it's made, we want to sit down with Joe and Heidi Trull with Grits and Groceries restaurant in Belton, South Carolina, a place they say is the center of the universe. Real food done real good. That's the motto of the little restaurant at the Sailor's Crossroads in Belton, South Carolina. And personal experience can attest to the fact that Joe and Heidi Trull live up to their claim. In fact, the food here is phenomenal and well worth the trip off the interstates in upstate South Carolina for breakfast or lunch on any given Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. until 2 in the afternoon. They open the doors at 6 Saturday mornings to meet the needs of hunters and others, getting an early start to the day with their extravagant Saturday brunch. The couple knows what they're doing. They moved to South Carolina from New Orleans a month before Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast. Heidi owned and operated a nationally recognized restaurant about a mile from the French Quarter. Husband Joe was a longtime pastry chef for Emeril Lagasse's Nola restaurant in the French Quarter. And as you can imagine, their homemade desserts taste as great as their homemade entrees and sides.
We're just a friendly place with good service and good food, and we treat everybody wonderfully. It's kind of like family here. Anyone that comes through the door is welcome, and we want to make sure that everybody has a good time and a good meal, and make sure that everybody leaves happy.
The restaurant is located in what local historians say is one of the oldest buildings in the county. It sits at the corner of Sailor's Crossroads in Anderson County, along what has been designated the South Carolina National Heritage Corridor. You can't miss it, especially if you keep an eye out for the big rooster in the yard.
The other thing was this was an old country store, and we were kind of tying to the heritage of the store. We tried to leave as much of this building intact as we possibly could, and this was the super Walmart of its day.
You could get anything here. We have a lot of people that came in and say, oh, I got my first pair of shoes here. Oh, my mama used to come and pick up feed here. They sold everything.
In addition to their culinary expertise, another reason the food is so good here is because the couple strives to meet a goal that no less than 80% of their ingredients is locally grown and comes from neighbor farms or suppliers.
The food is much fresher. You can tell a difference. You know, we're buying fruit that was picked yesterday as opposed to that was picked in California last week and put on a train car and shipped here. And you know, we have a neighbor that has 30 blueberry bushes, and she brings us blueberries, and the taste is just so much.
I didn't like blueberries. I never liked blueberries until I started eating her blueberries, and I'm like, wow, what a difference! Because everything we get is shipped from cross country in big cities where we've worked before.
So. Callahan Farms, you know, they have, through the season they start out having strawberries and figs and blackberries and peaches and nectarines, and so we kind of go along with the season, and we have a bunch of other local farmers that grow things and bring us produce, and we try to buy as much stuff as we can, and we get our meat local from.
Our goal is 80%. I mean, 100% is unrealistic. Sure. But we even have a paper producer which makes a biodegradable, disposable paper products in Spartanburg.
Found in.
So we try to we go 100-mile radius and get everything we can, and then we work out.
That's awesome. You mentioned the dairy earlier.
Mm-hmm. Dairy. We have a small local dairy. They own a large commercial dairy, and they decided they wanted to make fresh raw milk the way they were used to it. So they bought a 50-cow Jersey dairy, which is all grass-fed. They rotate through pastures. They only milk twice a day. Most dairies milk 3 times a day. The milk is just half fat. It's so good. You have to shake it up before you drink it, and most people remember that. But a few people, it scares them a little, but once they taste it, they're hooked. We use it to make soft cheeses with cottage cheese. We make all of our ice creams and cakes with it.
Speaking of ice cream, let's head into the kitchen where Heidi Trull will whip up a batch of their seasonal muscadine ice cream.
Hi y'all, this is Heidi from Brittain Groceries at Sailor's Crossroad. Our closest town is Belton, so technically that's a dress, but we are actually the center of the universe. So today we're going to make a muscadine ice cream, and we're using everything but the sugar came within a 5-mile radius of the building. We have fresh local eggs that we have a family that raises for us, and then our whole fresh unpasteurized milk. They milk at 7, we get our milk at 10. You can't get any fresher than that. The top of it is just pure cream. So our ice cream recipe calls for half milk and half cream, so we're going to use this milk since it's perfect. We've got lemons and fresh muscadine grapes that are coming in now, picking. Today was our first big batch of them, so we're really excited. We'll make jams and pies and ice creams and cakes. Okay, so we're going to get started. First thing, we talked about the milk. It's half cream, half milk. And we need to get it up to a scalded temperature. I always heard my grandmama say that, and I never knew what it meant, scalding the milk. We don't want to boil. We want steam coming off of the top. And into that, we're going to add our sugar and stir it a little bit. And then our egg yolks. Now we make a French custard cream here. So we make egg custard. And it makes it a richer, nicer cream. It gives you that nice custard taste when you eat it, not the corn syrup from store-bought ice cream. Okay, so while we're waiting for our milk to get up to temperature, we're going to skin and puree our muscadines and get all the seeds out of them. You can use a hand food mill. You can press them through a colander depending on what size batch you're going to make. Or we use our KitchenAid mixer with a food grade attachment and just press them right through. It takes the seeds, everything off, and we just get the fabulous juice. Alrighty. And then when our cream comes up to temperature, we're looking for about 120 degrees. I'm not much of a thermostat person, but just till the steam starts to come off. When we reach our steaming stage, we temper into the egg yolks. If you pour egg yolks and hot cream together, you get scrambled eggs and milk. So what we want to do is take our milk and stir and pour a little bit in at a time. It's maybe a quarter of the milk mixture. Then you can take this mixture after it's tempered and pour it back into the pot. Make sure you get all of that good stuff. And then stir. And while this is cooking, we're making, it'll kind of look like a thin pudding. It'll coat the back of your spoon. We're gonna zest 1 lemon. The lemon brings out the brightness in the fruit, the little bit of acid from the lemon. So we're good here. Just gotta stir and stir and stir and stir. Now don't answer the phone. Go to the bathroom before, because you can't stop stirring once you get to this point. This takes, let's say, 3 or 4 minutes. And what you're looking for is when you take your spoon out and run your finger across, it should leave a line across the spoon where the custard doesn't run back together. We're gonna pour it back in our bowl and mix in our grape puree. And then stir them together. Now if you want to make ice cream faster from this stage, you can take it and cool it in the refrigerator before you put it in the churn. Because you're hot, if it's colder, it'll chill faster. In a restaurant, we use a commercial machine, so we go straight from here. But today, we're using my great-grandmother's ice cream churn. And then, the creamier you like your ice cream, the more full you fill your canister. If you fill it half full, you get a lot of air in your ice cream. If you fill it 2/3 full, you get creamier, richer ice cream. And that's what we do. What we do is we take it out and put it in the freezer and let it firm up a little more so that we can serve it. And this is the finished product, our muscadine ice cream.
Alright, it's kettle corn time. Here we go. Yeah, kettle corn.
Good job. Now, look, you put both hands on it.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Voices of Agriculture from South Carolina. Thanks for watching. If you'd like information on anything that we've covered during today's show, log on to scfb.org and click on video. If you're a Farm Bureau member, Thank you for your support of family farmers and rural lifestyles. Until next time, I'm your host, Reggie Hall.